Okay. Hello, Milers. This is Beverly of Miles and Coffee. Thank you for joining us today. And I hope you're having a good one because I have a treat for you. Today, I feel honored to have as my special guest, Carolyn of Expat Interviews, Thriving Abroad. She is my first guest on the channel as a recorded interview. So first of all, thank you so much, Carolyn.
No, thank you. It's such an honor it's an honor to have this honor to be the first one.
Yes,
Congratulations. Wonderful.
you always remember your first.
Yes, you do. You do. You
So
sure do.
this is a special milestone for me, and so thank you so much. And I will leave a link. Let's see. I'll leave a link over here. You can check over here to see her interview of me, and she made it look easy. So we'll get started. First of all, how are you today in Mexico?
I am doing awesome. It's a little on the chilly side today, but it's awesome. Just a great day to be alive, great day to be in Mexico.
Yes, it's a great day to be alive, especially in Mexico. Would you mind telling my viewers where you are from and where you are now?
Sure. Well, I am originally from the Garden State, New Jersey, and I was born and raised there. And I lived in, after New Jersey, I moved down to Florida and I lived there for a bit. So I spent most of my life in Jersey and in Florida. And before I moved abroad. That's, yeah. So that's, Jersey girl through and through.
Excellent. So you said before you moved abroad. So obviously that lets us know that you have been to several different places.
Yes. So originally, when I decided to move abroad, I did some research and I was liking Panama a lot. Panama was like #1 on my list, but at the time there was a lot of stuff going on with the government and the visa jumpers, the border hoppers that, going back for your visa runs, and they were kind of cutting back on that. So I said, you know what, I don't want to go there and run the risk of, like when my 90 days is up, I'm going to get stuck, in some other country and I can't go back. So I said, let me just keep looking. And I didn't want to go too far away from the US. So I was kind of keeping my search in Central America. And then Costa Rica came up on my radar. Yeah. So I just, okay, did one of those. Let's do Costa Rica.
I have heard a lot about Panama and Costa Rica lately, but are you in Costa Rica now?
No, I'm in Mexico now.
You're in Mexico.
Yes.
Well, how would you compare the two? Do you, Costa Rica is a little bit different from Mexico, right?
Yeah, there are some differences between the two countries. I would say maybe cost of living is a little bit more affordable in Mexico than it is in Costa Rica throughout, because I also lived in Nicaragua after leaving Costa Rica. So, and I've actually visited all the Central American countries. So after having been through all those countries, I think that, yeah, Costa Rica is probably on the higher end of all of them, as far as just your day-to-day living expenses.
That is so interesting because in an earlier video, I actually read and shared with my viewers an article that asked the question, is Mexico #1 on the expat list? And Costa Rica and Mexico were neck and neck.
Costa Rica is beautiful. It's an amazing country. I really enjoyed living there. For 3 years, I lived in Costa Rica, and I lived in the city and the capital, San Jose, and I also lived at the beach. And it's an incredible, it's just incredible. If you can live in Costa Rica, I highly recommend it. Gorgeous country.
Okay, Mileage, you heard it from the source. You know, we talked about Costa Rica and Mexico, so that is should be on your list. What made you finally choose to just come to Mexico?
So I was living in Nicaragua at the time.
Mhm.
And back in 2018, Nicaragua had a civil war breakout. They had civil protests. So the entire country became embroiled in this civil unrest. And, as an expat, your first thing is, okay, should I stay? Should I go? Those things come to your mind, and totally never having experienced any type of, nationwide civil disturbance, not even in the US, if I can remember, I've never been involved in anything like that or in the midst of it. So it was kind of scary. And as we were in the Facebook groups and people were trying to decide, hey, am I going to go back to my home country? Am I going to go here? Am I going to go there? I started to realize that maybe leaving and going somewhere else might be the best choice, because it was starting to get a little bit dangerous. So I was, of course, doing some research, and I just couldn't come up with, a place that I felt like I could just slide right in and be comfortable, because everywhere around me was kind of like in chaos too, because, that they're kind of in the middle, and, everybody was running to Costa Rica. They were stressed out. I didn't want to go to El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras. So I was Panama, I don't know. At the time, it's kind of hard to think when you're under duress like that. So
Yes.
an expat friend of mine actually lived in Mexico, and with his wife, and he mentioned to me, he knew of the things that were going. He says, hey, you should check out Mexico. And I was like, Mexico, like that didn't even occur to me. But then I had another expat friend who shortly after, she went to visit, because she was living in Belize, and she went over to visit. And she said, man, I just got back from Merida, and I got to tell you, I think I'm moving to Mexico. I absolutely love it. And I was like, you're moving to Mexico? So that piqued my interest. And then I decided, okay, maybe I should, put that on my list of places to research. And then, it started to get a little bit worse and a little bit worse where I was. So I said, that's it. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go to Mexico. What's the worst that could happen? If I don't like it, I'll just go to the US and just start over again. And kind of like one of those decisions. So that's how I made it to Mexico.
Well, that sounds like another lesson that I hope my violets are taking notes of, is that you saw that the situation was changing and you followed your first mind. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. When you live abroad, a lot of people just take for granted that, oh, I'm in a peaceful country. And honestly, like Nicaragua was all over the travel magazines. Nicaragua was, like we say back home, the HNIC in travel, because everybody was going there, everybody was setting up shop. It was just booming. Even Sotheby's International came and set up shop.
Really?
Yes. Now, when Sotheby's
Okay.
rolls up,
That's high end, right? Sotheby's is high
absolutely.
end. Okay.
Sotheby's, yes. They set up shop, and they were, gang busting over there. And everything happened in an instant.
Mhm.
So I like to tell people, enjoy the country, get immersed in the culture, but always have situational awareness, because at any moment, at any time, anything can happen. And if you're not a native, you are not a native, and you're, most likely are going to have to leave or leave. So, if something really dangerous or something escalates. So, yeah, it's really good to just be aware of, where you are. I mean, it shouldn't stop you from going to places, but just kind of, tap into, things that are going on around. For example, if your country issues a warning about,
Yes.
certain things, heed those warnings. Don't just, roll your eyes, because they usually know what's going to happen, before you do. So it's always best to just keep, one ear on the ground wherever you go to.
So help me if I get this correct. So your advice, anybody, anywhere,
Mhm.
I heard you mention situational awareness
Mhm.
and keep keep abreast of the warnings coming from the states.
Right, or whatever country that you belong
Mhm.
to, because usually, they have intelligence, and I just mentioned
Mhm.
this recently in a Facebook group. They usually have intelligence that we don't have access to. So if
Right.
there's, like they say in the hood, if something's going down, they kind
Yes.
of know ahead of time what is
Mhm.
what is happening, because they just have that technology. So it's good for you to kind of, I mean, it's not for you to pack your things and go running off the minute they send out a warning, but just be more situationally aware of, okay, I live in Red Town, and Red Town is going through some things. So maybe I
Mhm.
might want to, have a plan B. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
have to go to Blue Town instead. Just not, throw your hands up and say, oh, well, whatever, because at any moment
Mhm.
you may have to leave Town Red and go to Town Blue, and you don't want to have to make these last minute decisions. And,
Mhm.
at the time I had an apartment full of a townhouse full of furniture,
Wow.
and there was no access in or out of the subdivision that I lived in except by foot. There was
Mhm.
no car access. So it was very difficult to be able to move, back and forth. We had to, so anyway, I don't want to go, but it's very important that you are kind of, you're aware. And a lot of
Mhm.
people say, oh, but you're, talking about such negative things, but it's a reality,
It's reality. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And we
There's
should just be
pros
ready.
and cons, good and bad, and we have to not all. It's not always rosy. We
Right.
always want to be honest, especially I know you feel as I do that being content creators, we don't want to just say it's all hunky dory all the time. We have
Right.
to be real sometimes because we have a responsibility to let folks know. Listen, this is the word on the street, as you say.
Sure, sure. It's very important. Enjoy.
Mhm.
Like, I love
Oh
Mexico right
yeah.
now, and I think it's an amazing country. I recommend that everybody come here, but come here also with your situational awareness. If you live in a town that has a lot of activities or negative activities, then just kind of keep that in mind, and always have a plan B ready just in case.
That is so good. And it's so important that I wrote it down and we're going to reiterate it toward the end, just as a closing thought to allow people to soak that in. My viewers usually like getting information and I always tell them to take good notes. And this is another one of those cases where I hope they're taking notes. So thank you about that. So where are you? Are you in Merida right now?
Yeah, I'm in beautiful Merida in the Yucatan Peninsula.
Mhm.
And I had never heard of Merida before I moved here. And if my life depended on finding this city before, I wouldn't have been alive. But now it's very trendy. It's a beautiful city. It's a mix of
Mhm.
colonial and city, very North Americanized also. If you live here, you're not going to feel like you're totally separate, culture, or you're in a totally 360-degree. It's a very nice mixed culture here, and lots of expats live here too.
Okay, so if I were in the States and I wanted to think about putting Merida on my list, what is Merida known for? What would you say is something that it's known for?
Hmm. Um, I guess most people like Merida because it's family friendly. It's a
Mhm.
kind of a city where if you're single, you're great. If you're married, you're great. If you have children, you're great. It kind of fits it fits everybody's mm, expectations, or I guess that profile is the word I was looking for. You know, the profile, if I'm single, or if I'm gay, or if, you know, I'm
Mhm.
elderly, if I'm, you know, a retiree. It just kind of, it's like a one size fits all kind of a city. So I think that's what draws people here.
Okay, and you mentioned that it's a colonial city. Are
Mhm.
there any other major attractions that people are attracted to? I've heard that the people are beautiful there in Merida.
Yeah, yeah, everyone is very welcoming here,
Mhm.
and very low key. You know, the people here are not up in your face kind of thing and hustle mentality. Everybody's just chill and very friendly and polite. I guess some of the attractions we have here are like, we are about an hour away from Chichen Itza, the pyramid, and we do actually have another ruin that's nearby here, about
Mhm.
20 minutes outside of town, that most people don't hear about. But I think the ruins and the cenotes are what
Yes.
Merida is famous for.
Mhm. Okay, wow. Thank you so much. For those of us from the States who had never heard of a cenote, can you describe what is that? Cenotes in my best English spelling.
So cenotes, sure. Cenotes are these, they're underground lakes. They are these, they're not, they're, so the Yucatan Peninsula actually sits, it's a peninsula and it sits on a bed of water. It literally is a peninsula that's on top of the water. So
Mhm.
these natural lakes have been formed throughout the peninsula, and they're like little cave. Some of them are covered with caves, some of them are open, but there are little openings in the ground that are like lakes. They're swimmable lakes, but they go very deep. They go deep
Mm.
down to the ocean, many of them down to the ocean floor. And they're just very popular because the Mayans, you know, the Mayan civilization, they were very important, these cenotes. They used them for different things. They used them for sacrifices. They used them for their ceremonies. So it was a big part of the Mayan culture to have, you know, events at these cenotes. So people love to go and swim in them. You know, it's just cool. Like, it's like swimming in a cave.
Thank you for that. Now, I know what a cenote is, but this is my first time understanding the cultural connection to the Mayans and part of their spiritual rituals. So thank you. We want to check that out if those people go to Merida. Well, I'm going to ask you if you could share, please, maybe something. What do you like the most about being here in Mexico?
That's a good question. You know, um, I think about that a lot, and I like sharing that with people because I feel that, like you said, as a content creator, I don't like to paint a picture that isn't, you know, and lead people to believe that, oh, you know, everything is 100% when it's really not. So I like Mexico because I feel really comfortable here. I love the people, I love the food, I just love the country, the layout. I love the different cultures. Not only do they have indigenous, it's like each state almost has their own traditional culture and indigenous, and there's just so much to see. Like, it would probably take you a year to just go through this country and visit state to state, and you know, try the different foods. Like, you'll have a
Oh,
different cuisine in every different state. There's so many different landscapes here. So I think that's what really draws me and makes me love Mexico as opposed to other countries. There, it's just so much. It's, you know, many countries in one.
I agree with all of the above, and it could really take a lifetime to, you can't see everything in one visit, but I'd like to try. And so thank you for that. Well, are there things that what is your least favorite thing? Maybe just one thing that really bugs you about Mexico.
Yeah. So what bugs me about Mexico is that anyone that is contemplating living in Latin America, in a Latin American country,
Mhm.
they will experience this. The Latin American culture is one of uh, mm, a few negative things for us as Westerners, as opposed to them. For them, it's perfectly okay. But for us, it's very annoying. Like, for example, time. They are not time conscious here at all. In any country that I've lived in, that I've visited, no one has any concept of being on time for anything. So that can be kind of annoying. Um, you know, just there's no rush to get anything done. If I told you I was going to be there on Tuesday and I don't show up till the following Saturday, I mean, it's not a big deal. So those are the kind of things that really that just irk me, because I've experienced it before, and you come to Mexico and, oh, I'm experiencing it again. But that's just the culture, and just one
That's
of
the
the things
culture.
that you have to get just adapt to, because
So
it's not
Carol,
going to change.
are you trying to tell me that Mexico does not operate like America, United States?
Not at all. You're going to be very disappointed. I remember distinctly when I first moved to Costa Rica, the first week that I was there, I was at the supermarket, and I was standing in line, and there was there's about two people in front of me, and there was this lady at the cashier, and she was just the cashier. I noticed that she was just passing the groceries like in slow motion, and I'm like, why is she, and she's just going like this with the groceries. And then she stopped, and then they're just talking, like old friends. So, and then there's people in back of me,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what is going on? So then after that, then the lady pulls out some papers, and it's her receipts, her electric bill, her water bill, her phone bill. So now she's paying, because you can pay them at the supermarkets.
Mhm.
And not a care in the world, not a rush. And the line is getting longer in the back. And I'm just fresh from the US, and I'm ready to fight now, because I'm like, wait a minute, why is this taking so long? Like, does anybody have any urgency here? So that was one of the first
Yeah.
adjustments that I had to make. I had to like totally
Oh,
slow
yeah.
down, because you're
Mhm.
so accustomed to that rush, 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 rush. And you get here and people are like, they have no rush, which, when you think about it, it's good, because their stress levels are way less than
Way
ours.
down.
Yeah, because they're not stressed out about it. We're the
Mhm.
ones that our blood
Mhm.
pressure is up, because we got to, hurry, 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 let's go, go, go. So
Yep.
that was a big adjustment for me. That was a
Yeah.
big adjustment.
And I'm shaking my head because I can so relate to everything you just said. And what the sooner we learn that, oh, I'm not in the rush states. This is a different culture, a different way of doing things. When you learn that, things get so much better. Well, listen, I'm not going to keep you much longer, but I do want you to maybe share some advice for people who might be considering a move to Mexico. What advice would you have for that person?
Sure. So, when I moved, I left the US 14 years ago. And when I left, there weren't many YouTube. I don't even know if YouTube was really such a thing. Facebook, there were no Facebook groups at all. So it was very difficult to get information about, countries that you wanted to move to. I suggest, if you are planning to, if at all possible, go and visit first. If it's possible, go and check out the scenery, go there. I went to Costa Rica for 5 days before I moved there. And just to get a feel for it, because you don't want to pack your stuff, move everything to a country, and then you realize you're miserable. You sell everything, and now, so starting over is not so cool when you're in a place that you're uncomfortable in. So if it's possible, I would go and visit and just check it out first. And if it's not really possible to visit, you just want to make a clean break, then I suggest you watch videos and learn from people that have been there, not people that have been there for 2 months, for 3 months, that just got there. You know, watch videos and learn, reach out to, talk to people that have been vetted, that have spent time abroad, that actually can tell you, about their experiences and some things to look out for. Because if you lived in a country for 3 months, honestly, it's difficult for you to, be able to help someone
That's
and,
right.
and address many of the issues that you face,
Mhm.
when you live abroad. So reach out, find someone that you can ask questions to, watch YouTube videos and do as much research as you can. That would be my advice.
How are you doing with the language? Do you speak any Spanish, Carolyn?
Yeah, I have to say that I do. I am a fluent Spanish speaker because my parents were Cuban immigrants to the
Wow.
US. So that does help a lot. And to be honest with you, I feel like I would only go to Spanish speaking countries, because if I were to go to like a place that I did not speak the language, it would be very difficult for me to
Mhm.
learn and to get around. And that's another issue for many people. Learn a little bit of the language,
Mhm.
depending on where you're going to go. Just it really makes a difference in how you interact with people, and how, your life will be.
Even a little bit helps. Okay,
Even a
listen,
little bit, yeah.
to wrap this up, I want to go back to your travel tips. Number
Mhm.
one, situational awareness.
Yes.
Okay. Number two, you said be aware of like warnings.
Yeah. Usually the US State Department, they actually have a Facebook page, and other countries, most countries have a consulate, and they have Facebook pages, and you can go there and see, information on
Mhm.
countries. And a lot of people get offended, like, oh, well, there's, yes, but it's not, it's, you're to go there to just kind of get a situation awareness, like, okay, there's some things going on in this city right now, so I know that maybe I don't want to go to that city, I might want to go to another city. Not that you shouldn't be or go a place,
Yeah.
just find a place, an alternate place, right? So you avoid, and it's just to avoid problems. I mean, if there's like, gun violence in a particular city, well, do you want to really move to that city as a foreigner? No.
No.
So
No.
that's a good way to find out, what's happening. It's
That's
important.
yeah. Pay attention to those places where it says "do not travel."
Right. Right.
And then check. Not to be paranoid, but to check. Well, listen. So based on your recommendation, I will leave a link to the Facebook page for the State Department below, as well as a link to your channel. Again, would you like to tell the viewers the name of your channel?
Sure, thank you. It's called Expat Interviews Thriving Abroad, and I have done over 100 interviews with expats, including yourself, that have been gracious enough to tell me about their experiences, their journey, their transition to moving abroad. So it's very informative, and maybe there's a country on there that you always wanted to hear more about, and it's nice to hear it from the people that are actually living that experience.
Yeah. And so those are the types of videos that people want to have access to as they're considering different places, because it's kind of nice to hear it, like you say, recommendations from a person who has lived there. This has been a joy. I want to thank you again. And I just hope that you will continue to enjoy your journey here in Mexico and wherever else you choose to go. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Beverly. I really appreciate, I appreciate you. And, you are, I just want to say this last thing. I am very jealous of you, because you are living in a part of the country that I just can't wait to go to. So I'm jealous right now because you're enjoying a place that is just absolutely gorgeous and beautiful.
It really is. The sea just does something to lift my spirits, even the color of the sea. But you'll have to stay in touch. And when you come this way, coffee's on me.
For
Tacos too.
sure, for sure, for sure.
So we'll say see you later. That's how we'll end this. And thank you, Milers, for joining today. Please do visit Carolyn's channel. I think it'll be worth your while. She's got some wonderful information. And we'll see you next time on Miles and Coffee. Bye for now. Bye, Carolyn.
Bye bye. Adios.